Hi everyone, welcome back to E7dition channel. In today's tutorial, I will show you how to dress like Celia Mae. I'm working for size 1 as a sample, but you can adjust it to your own size. In this first part, I will just make the dress and the clothes. So let's get started! So let's start making this dress using the green color. We will work from the bottom to the upper portion of this dress. So let's start by making the slip knot, and we will work with a crocodile stitch. This stitch use a multiple of 6. So what I mean by a multiple of 6, that you have to grow each time with a sequence of 6 chains. So I will make 6 chains. This is first sequence, and then I will work another 6. This is second sequence, and then another 6. Okay, so you have to grow each time 6 6 6 until this chain measure for the women's size must reach the under bust divided by 2, but for the kid size this chain must measure the chest divided by 2. So once you reach your desired length of your chain and you made a multiple of 6, you have to count the number of your chains, so you can repeat the same number for the second panel. So now for the first row we have to chain 3, and to make a double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook in the third chain from your hook, yarn over and pull through 1. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, skip 2 chain and make 2 double crochet in the same chain. So 2 double and chain 2, skip 2 chains, make 2 double crochet in the next same spot. So now you just have to keep repeating this pattern all the way. I'm done with my first row. Let's work on the second row. So chain 3, and we will make 4 double crochet in that space between these 2 double crochet. But first, rotate your work and make sure the tail is in this direction. So let's make a double crochet in between these 2 double, chain 1. This is the first part of the scale. Now we will work on the second part. So rotate your work and make sure the tail is facing this direction. Now we will start working on this second pillar, but this time let's make 5 double crochet. Chain 1, and our first tail is completed. Now we will work on our second scale, but you have to skip these 2 double crochet and work into the third by making 5 double crochet for the first part of the scale. Chain 1, rotate your work, and the long tail will be upward. Now let's work in this pillar by making 5 double crochet. Chain 1, and now we have 2 scales until now. We will work together the third one, and from there you continue the same pattern. So skip the next 2 double crochet and make sure that the tail is facing this direction, and let's work into the next 2 double crochet, making 5 double crochet. Chain 1, rotate your work, and let's work on this. Chain 1. Okay, so we made 3 scales, so continue this. I'm done with my second row. Now we will work on our third one. So for the last, after you complete the last double crochet, don't chain 1. For the third row, let's chain 3 and put 1 double crochet in that middle scale, chain 2 and put 2 double crochet in between the 2 double crochet of row 1. Chain 2 and make 2 double crochet in that middle scale, chain 2 and 2 double crochet in between these 2 double crochet of row 1. So you have to continue this pattern until the end of your row. So for row 4, let's chain 1 and we will make a row of scales, but this time we will skip the first set of 2 double crochet and work on the second set. So again, make sure to keep the tail in this direction and make 5 double crochet working on the second set. chain 1, rotate your work again, so this tail will be in this direction, and let's make the second part of this first scale. Chain 1, and now we completed the first scale. Now we will work on the second, so skip this set of 2 double crochet and let's work on the next one by making 5 double crochet, chain 1, rotate your work, so this tail will be facing up, in this direction, and now let's work on the second part. Chain 1. So continue making this pattern until the end. When you reach the end, flip your work on the wrong side and let's make a slip stitch in this spice. Then turn on the right side and we will work our 5th row. So chain 3, let's make a double crochet in the same space of the slip stitch, chain 2 and make 2 double crochet in the middle of this scale. Chain 2 and let's make 2 double crochet in between the 2 double crochet of 2 rows below. Chain 2, 2 double crochet in the middle of the next scale, chain 2, 2 double crochet in between the 2 double crochet 2 rows below, so keep continuing this pattern until the end of your row. You will notice also there is a difference between the number of scales made in the first one and the second one. So for me, I made 7 scales in the first row and in the second one I made 6 scales. So you will keep alternating between these 2 rows. One time the number of your scales will be equal to the first row of scales. The second one will be equal to the second row of scales. for me, then the third scale row, it will be equal to 7 scales, then the next one would be equal to 6 scales. And now you have to keep repeating row 2 to row 5 until your entire work measure number x. To know number x, you have to follow this equation. You take the length of the dress above the knee and you reduce from it the armhole depth. So for me, the length of the dress above the knee is equal to 16 inch and the armhole depth is equal to 3.75. I will get 12.25 inches. So I will keep repeating these rows, and I will see you again when I'm done. Okay, so I reached my desired length, and now I placed a stitch marker to the side to separate the first part from the second one. Now we will work on the armhole shaping. So make sure first that you end by a row of scale, that's me row 2 or row 4. And now we will start making row 3 or row 5. For me, I'll add the repeat of row 5. And we will start decreasing from both sides. So I will chain, for me, 3, and usually for row 5 I have to place a double crochet in that chain space, but instead of that I will skip this and make 1 double crochet in the middle of the scale, and then chain 2, and I will continue my pattern for this row, and at the end I will also decrease the same. But if you are at the repeat of row 3, then instead of making a double crochet in the middle of the scale, you have to skip this and then making 1 double crochet in between 2 double crochet 2 rows below, and continue making your pattern as usually. Okay, so I'm back, and now I will decrease in this side. So instead of making 2 double crochet in that middle scale, I will skip it and make 2 double crochet in between the 2 double crochet 2 rows below, and then from here the second row will be a scale row, and I will keep decreasing until the width of the decrease of each side measure 1 inch for size 0 to 6 years, 1.25 inch for size 7 to 8 years, 1.5 inches for size 9 to 12 years, and 2 inches for the rest of adult sizes. So for me, and now I have to stop decreasing because I already reached my 1 inch width of decrease. So then after making this scale row, I will continue repeating row 2 to row 5 until I reach number Z. To know number Z, you have to follow this equation. You take the armhole depth, you divide it by 3, you will get number Y, and then you reduce from the armhole depth number Y, and then you will get number Z, and you will get so this is a number where you have to stop working because we will start working on the neck shape. So for me, number Z is equal to 2.25. So I will make this 2.25 from row 2 to row 5, and I will meet you again. And also please don't forget to write down how many decreases a row you've done, so you can repeat the same numbers of rows for the next panel. And once you are done with your decreases row, you have to place a stitch marker to the side to separate your second part from the third part. And you have also to count and write down your numbers of rows for the third part, so you can make the same number for the second panel. Okay, so I'm at the end of my scale row of the armhole part 2, and at this row you must lose one scale. So my last row of scales before this one was made of 6 scales. Now I have to make only 5 scales. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you, and now I have to turn my work on the wrong side and to make a slip stitch to the last chain space. I reached my number Z from this point to this point, and now I will shape my neck. But make sure you end by a row of scales. I'm at the repeat of row 3, and you have to place a stitch marker in the middle, and I'm going to make my row similar at the repeat of row 3, and when I reach the stitch marker I will meet you again. I reached my stitch marker, so in this middle scale I will make a slip stitch. So insert, yarn over, and post all, and we can now remove this stitch marker. For the next row I will just continue my sequence. So for me it was row 3, now it's row 4. Let's chain 1, and I will skip this 2 double crochet and make a scale in the next one. So you have just to keep going, making your sequence of rows from this middle point to the side. For me, I will not repeat, I will not make any more rows for this side. So when you reach your desired length of the dress above the knee, measuring from the top to the bottom point, for me I have to stop when my entire project measures 16 inches. So this is for me enough. So when you reach on your desired length, you cut and fasten off, and we will work on the next portion. I'm back, and let's attach the yarn in that middle scale. Chain 1, and I will continue making the same rows that I made for this part. So I will chain 3 and I will place 2 double crochet in the next 2 double crochet 2 rows below, instead of placing a double crochet in that middle scale. Chain 2 and 2 double crochet in the next scale, and so on. When you make the same number of rows, just cut and fasten up. And now go ahead and repeat the same panel, and I will need to seam both panels together. Okay, and now this is the time of the seam, so bring your darning needle, but first make sure to place these 2 panels on top of each others, and the right side of the first panel must face up and the wrong side of the second panel must face up. So bring your darning needle and we will start seaming both panels together. This is a knot, and then we enter the needle in the first stitch of the first panel and in the second stitch in the first stitch of the second panel, and we just sew both sides together. So you have to continue seaming until you reach the first stitch marker or the row of decrease of the armhole. So you don't seam the armhole rows, okay? So you stop at the last row of non-decrease. And then when you finish, you cut and fasten off, and you do the same for the second side. A little tip is to connect these 2 scales together like this, okay? And so when you flip it on the right side, it will look like 1 row. And now I will work on the shoulder seam. I will connect the first part to the second part from both sides, leaving from the center the neck circumference. Either you can measure to your own neck, or either you can look to the charts on my Pinterest account. So go ahead and seam these 2. So I will take only this size from here and here, like around 1.5 inches, and I will leave the center open. So I will work and sew this part and this part, and when I finish, I will see you again. Okay, this is the last part of the dress where you have to put this feather ribbon or full ribbon, whatever you found. So I stabilized first with sewing pins, and then I will start sewing all around the neck, or you can use instead the glue to fix it. So let's start by making a chain. So we will do first that slip knot, and then let's make our chain. And this chain must be equal to the forearm circumference. These sizes that are on the screen are adaptable for kids and adult size. So for my size, I will chain 5 inches. That's mean extra small. So 5 inches is equal to 20 chain. So I will write down the number of these chains when I finish, and so I can repeat the same for the other glove. So let's join with a slip stitch to the first chain and make sure that your chain is not twisted. So insert in that first chain, yarn over, and pull through all loops. Okay, so now we will work on the biceps part. So this is the first part. These few rows are worked with the pink, and they are considered the biceps part and not yet the forearm. So for the first round, we will chain 2 and we will make 1/2 double crochet into each chain. To make a half double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook in the first chain, yarn over and pull through 1. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all loops. Let's make it again. Yarn over, insert in the next chain, yarn over, pull through 1. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 3. Again, yarn over, insert in the next chain, yarn over, pull through 3, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 3. So you have to make this half double crochet all around. I'm at the end. Now I will join to the first half double crochet made with a slip stitch. So insert in that first half, yarn over and pull through all. For the second row, I will make a back loop single crochet row. So let's chain 1 and insert in that first stitch, yarn over and pull through 1. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So insert in that V shape. Okay, yarn over, pull through 1. You have 2 loops in your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert in the next back loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So you have to continue making back loop single crochet all around. Okay, so I'm at the end of my round. I will slip stitch to the first stitch. For the third round, I will do a half double crochet back loop. So chain 2, yarn over, and insert in that back loop and make a half double crochet, but in the back loop only. Okay, so when you reach the end, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. From here, you have to keep alternating between row 2 and row 3, a back loop single crochet round, and a round of back loop half double crochet until you find it's enough for the part where the glove will cover the biceps. For me, I made 5 rounds for the first glove. So don't forget also to take a note of the number of your rows made for this first part, so you can make the same number for the second glove. So now I will start working the forearm part. So first you have to figure out your forearm length. So you take the arm length and you divide it by 2. And this part is worked with 2 colors, the pink and the lilac. So for that you have to divide your forearm by 10, and then you will get the length which you have to work each color. So for me it's I have to work each color around 0.6 inches, which means around 2 rounds. So I will attach my lilac and I will chain 1, and I will keep alternating between a round of back loop single crochet and a round of back loop half double crochet. So according to my sequence right now, I have to make a back loop single crochet, so I will chain 1 again, and I will put into each stitch a back loop single crochet. And when I reach the end, I have to slip stitch to the first stitch, and then the next round I will make it a back loop half double crochet. Then I will meet you back to switch color. I will not cut my color, you can keep it, it's okay. Okay, I'm back, and now I will switch color to pink. And for me it's a bit of the back loop single crochet. So let's chain 1, and I will put 1 single crochet in the back loop only into each stitch, and when I reach the end I will join with a slip stitch, and you have to keep going. So now you have to keep continuing your alternation between these 2 colors, the lilac and the pink, until you reach in total 5 repetitions from each color. So I made 5 and 5 from the pink. So now I'm going to work on my last part, and I have to cut and with this pink yarn because we are going just to work with the lilac color. So we are going to shape the thumb hole. So if you are working this for your size, you have to put your thumb and you take the real measurement like this. But if for example, for my size here, I can guess that if I took 3 stitches from the beginning of the round and 3 stitches from the end are okay for the thumb of 1 year baby. So let's insert the hook in that first stitch and chain 1, and then I have to slip stitch in that first stitch and second and then third. This is the measurement that I need for my thumb, and then I have to take and I have to count from the back the last stitches also 3, so 1 2 3, and let's slip stitch to this stitch, and then I turn my work, and then in the same place I have to make slip stitch 1 2 and 3. So this is the same number that I made for the first part, and now I have to slip stitch to the first stitch made. Okay, now from here, so this is the hole, you have to cut your lilac, and we will work on the fingers part. And now let's attach the lilac color in this worked stitch. Chain 1 to secure the yarn, and we have to continue our sequence of rounds. For me, this is a round of a back loop single crochet. So in the next stitch I have to make a back loop single crochet all around, and when you reach the end, slip stitch the first stitch, and you have to continue working your rounds of back loop single crochet and a back loop half double crochet. And don't forget also to take a note of how many rounds you've made, so you can make for the next one the same number. For me, I made 4, so I will do 4 here. And when you finish, you have to cut and fasten.